During a late night at work, I overheard my mentor snickering to our director, "She's got drive, sure, the drive of a car stuck in neutral." I swallowed my pride, worked in silence, and when a higher-up position opened, I recommended myself, and won it without his help. The next time he needed a favor, I politely replied, "Sorry, I'm too busy moving forward." Let me tell you how I learned the truth about my mentor, and how I made sure he'd never underestimate me again. This happened in St. Louis, Missouri, at a pretty well-known marketing firm. I started there right out of college as an unpaid intern. I had no connections, no fancy resume, and no clue how the corporate world really worked. What I did have was work ethic. I showed up early, stayed late, and took every assignment seriously, no matter how small. It didn't take long before they offered me a full-time spot. A year into the job, they paired me with Gregory, a senior strategist who had been with the company for over 10 years. People respected him. He was sharp, experienced, and knew how to work a room. The kind of guy who could talk to a client like they were best friends and close a deal before dessert. At the time, I felt lucky to learn under him. At first, I thought he believed in me. He'd give me advice, walk me through pitches, and give me feedback that, while sometimes a little too blunt, helped me improve. He'd say things like, "You've got potential, kid. You just need to polish it. Don't rush. One good move is better than 5 weak ones. Clients like you. That's good. Just don't let them like you more than they respect you." I thought he was guiding me. I thought that's what mentors were supposed to do. But over time, I started noticing a pattern. Whenever I did something well, he downplayed it. If I nailed a client call, he'd say I was lucky the client was in a good mood. If I landed a new campaign direction that got positive feedback, he'd say he had already planted the seed weeks earlier. At first, I thought I was being paranoid. I mean, he never said anything mean outright. Just little comments here and there that chipped away at me. Still, I ignored it. I told myself to stay focused. Then came the night that changed everything. It was a Thursday. Late. Around 9 p.m. Most of the building was empty except for a few people. I stayed behind to finish prepping for a big presentation the next morning. I was formatting printouts, lots of them, and the main printer near my cubicle had jammed. The only one still working was near Gregory's office. As I walked down the hallway, I heard voices. I paused for a second, thinking it was weird. His lights were still on, and he was talking to our director. I didn't mean to eavesdrop. I swear. But what I heard stopped me cold. Gregory was laughing. And then he said it. "She's got drive, sure. The drive of a car stuck in neutral." Then the director laughed. "I mean, she's good. Just not there yet. She'll hit her ceiling like the rest of them." I stood there frozen. I didn't breathe. They were talking about me. I knew it. It wasn't just the words, it was the way he said it. Like I was a joke. Like all the work I'd done didn't mean anything. I didn't say a word. I waited for them to move on, then quietly printed what I needed and walked back to my desk. I didn't sleep that night. I replayed that line in my head over and over again. The next morning, I smiled like nothing happened. But inside, something shifted. That weekend, I sat down and made a folder on my computer. I started collecting every bit of proof I had of my work, successful projects, client emails, internal praise, campaign data. I wanted a record. A clear, undeniable timeline that showed what I had done. Not what Gregory had done. What I had built from scratch. I didn't know what I was going to do with it yet. But I knew I needed it. About 2 months later, things got interesting. One of our senior strategists, Daniel, announced he was moving to Seattle. The position he was leaving behind? It was big. A promotion. A salary bump. And whoever took it would get to lead a team, manage bigger clients, and have a direct line to the executive board. Gregory's name started coming up immediately. People assumed it would go to him. He'd been at the company forever, and even though Daniel wasn't his biggest fan, Gregory had the kind of reputation that made people fall in line. He must have assumed it was his for the taking. That's when I noticed the way he started treating me differently. Subtly, but definitely different. Like I was a junior again. Like he was trying to keep me in my lane. He'd say stuff like, "Positions like this come with baggage. Not sure you want all that stress. You're talented. But timing is everything. Might be better to wait. You should talk to me before applying. I can help shape your narrative." I knew exactly what he was doing. He was trying to get inside my head. He didn't see me as a threat. He saw me as someone to keep under him, someone to guide, sure, but not someone who could pass him. So I made a choice. I didn't ask him for advice. I didn't even tell him I was applying. I set a meeting with HR and the director. I walked in with my folder. The one I'd been building since that night. I heard him laugh at me. I laid it out clearly. My track record. My successes. What I'd contributed, what I'd led, and the campaigns I'd helped bring to life. They looked surprised. But in a good way. I told them I was ready. That I didn't need someone else to speak on my behalf. That I could prove my value with hard results, and I did. I kept it quiet, but word got around. I made it to the final interview. Gregory didn't say a word. But the day after my second round, I saw him talking with the director, just like that night. Only this time I didn't care what they said. I knew my worth. 2 weeks later, I got the call. I got the job. And here's where it got real. The Monday after the announcement, Gregory came by my desk. I'll never forget it. He had a file in his hand, something about a vendor issue he'd been trying to fix. "Hey," he said casually. "Think you could reach out to your contact at Claremont? They've been dragging their feet," and I looked him straight in the eye. "Sorry," I said. "I'm too busy moving forward." And then I walked away. He stood there, file in hand, like he'd just swallowed a lemon. It felt good. But it wasn't the end. After I turned Gregory down, word spread fast. People noticed. The ones who used to dismiss me as just another young up-and-comer started watching me a little closer. Some were curious. Some were annoyed. And a few, like Gregory, started getting nervous. I didn't go around bragging. I just kept doing my job. But now I was doing it with more power, more access, and a bigger voice at the table. What I didn't expect was how fast things would change behind the scenes. About a week after the promotion, I got an email from a junior associate named Megan. She was smart, fast, and clearly underused. She asked if I had time to grab coffee. I said yes. We met at a cafe across from the office. And what she told me changed everything. "I don't know if I should say this," she said, lowering her voice, "but I think you should know Gregory's been rewriting your name out of old project credits." I blinked. "What?" She nodded. "I was looking over a pitch deck from the Lakeside campaign, the one you led last year." He updated it and presented it to a new client as an example of his strategy work. "Your name isn't on it anymore." I sat there, stunned. That was one of my biggest wins. A full rebrand campaign that pulled in almost $500,000 in new revenue. I'd led every piece of that, start to finish. And now he was wiping my name off it? That night, I dug into our shared drives. Sure enough, Megan was right. On 3 different past campaigns, Gregory had gone back and cleaned up documents. He replaced my name with his, or removed author tags altogether. On some, he even adjusted the file histories to make it look like I'd just assisted. I felt my stomach twist. He wasn't just bitter. He was actively trying to erase me. So I started documenting. Again. Screenshots. File history. Email timestamps. Old versions. Even Slack messages where he thanked me for my work, then later pretended he'd led it all himself. I didn't say anything right away. I just kept collecting. Then things got worse. 2 weeks later, a big pitch came in. A 6-figure contract with a health tech startup out of Chicago. My team got assigned the lead. I set up strategy sessions, managed deadlines, and was set to present directly to the client's CEO. The day before the presentation, Gregory called in sick. But somehow, he ended up on the call anyway, pretending to support me during the pitch. What did he do? He hijacked it. Midway through, he interrupted me and started answering questions I was already prepared for. He even said at one point, "We've trained our newer strategists well, they learn fast under strong leadership." I wanted to throw something. After the call, the client still chose us. But their feedback? Gregory seemed confident. Is he the one we'll be working with going forward? I nearly lost it. I scheduled a private meeting with HR and our new director of accounts, Carla. She was newer to the company but had already heard whispers about Gregory's mentorship style. I laid everything out, documents, timelines, proof. Carla sat quietly for a long time. Then she asked me one question. "What do you want us to do about this?" I didn't answer right away. Because honestly, I wasn't sure yet. Not just fire him. That would be too easy. Too fast. I wanted him to feel it, slowly. And that's when I got an idea. After that meeting with Carla, I went back to my office and sat with her question echoing in my head. What do you want us to do about this? Part of me wanted to unload everything. Hand over the folder, file a formal complaint, force HR to take him down. But the smarter part of me knew, if I played this right, I could do more than just get rid of Gregory. I could bury his reputation with his own behavior. So I made a plan. Instead of blowing things up publicly, I told Carla I wanted her to let me handle it quietly, for now. I said, just keep watching. Give it a little time. She nodded. You have our support. Just be careful. And I was. Over the next month, I kept doing my job. And made sure to keep Gregory just close enough that he'd keep tripping over himself. I started assigning him low-level tasks on my projects. Just enough to keep him involved, but not enough to give him power. Then, during team meetings, I'd call on him in front of others. Gregory, could you explain what happened with the vendor delay last week? He'd scramble. Stammer. Half the time he hadn't followed through. Gregory, I noticed the data pull from the Jenkins report was missing. Can you resend your update? He never had one. I wasn't trying to embarrass him for show. I just wanted people to see the truth, that he wasn't this unshakable leader. He was sloppy. Disorganized. And more than anything, he was lazy unless it was something that put him in the spotlight. Meanwhile, I gave every bit of credit to my team. I pushed Megan forward. I pulled 2 other juniors into major campaigns and gave them space to shine. They were hungry. They did great. And people noticed. One Friday, as we wrapped up the biggest quarter in the department's history, our VP came down from the Chicago office. During the all-hands meeting, she asked who'd led the health tech pitch, the one that brought in the big client. Before Gregory could even breathe, Carla spoke up, that was my name. She ran the entire project. Her team was flawless. Gregory didn't clap. But everyone else did. The cracks started widening after that. And then came the final twist I didn't expect. Megan knocked on my door a week later. She looked pale. I think you should see this, she said, and handed me a USB drive. Inside was a folder of internal chat screenshots, pulled from an old Slack backup someone on the IT team had found while upgrading their servers. Gregory had a private chat thread with another senior manager. They'd been joking about me, about Megan, about younger employees not knowing their place. One message from Gregory read, "She's a climber. Gonna be fun watching her fall on her face." Another, "The second she messes up, I'm jumping in. Taking back what's mine." It hit me hard. Not because it hurt, not anymore. But because it proved everything. He wasn't mentoring anyone. He was waiting. Waiting for me to fail. So I took that evidence, added it to the rest, and called Carla. I was ready. I met with Carla on a Monday morning. Just the two of us, behind closed doors. I handed her the USB drive and laid out everything. The deleted credits. The manipulated files. The hijacked presentation. The private Slack messages, the ones where Gregory called me a climber and talked about waiting for me to fall. Carla didn't say much at first. She just stared at the screen, her lips tight. When she finally spoke, she said, "I knew he was arrogant. I didn't realize he was this calculated." Then she stood up, walked over to her cabinet, and pulled out a thick binder. She flipped through it and showed me a section labeled Employee Conduct, Previous Warnings. Gregory's name was already there. Twice. Once for shutting a junior employee out of credit on a pitch. Another time for creating a hostile feedback environment, whatever that meant. Both times, he'd been given a verbal warning and mentorship retraining, which clearly didn't stick. Carla said, "This is more than enough. We're moving forward." I didn't ask what that meant. I didn't have to. The next morning, HR scheduled a meeting with Gregory. Private. Mid-morning. No one saw him come back from it. At 11:45 a.m., his email account was deactivated. By lunch, his name was off the internal org chart. By 2 p.m., security escorted him out. Word spread like fire. People whispered in the hallways. Some were shocked. A few weren't. But the real kicker? That same day, Carla called an all-staff meeting. She didn't go into detail, just said there had been a leadership change and that integrity and credit mattered more than tenure. Then she looked straight at me in front of everyone and said, "I want to thank my name for bringing some serious concerns to light. Leadership takes many forms, but protecting your team might be the most important." There was a long pause. Then someone clapped. Then more. A full room applauding. I didn't smile. I just nodded. But that wasn't the final nail. 2 weeks later, Gregory tried to bounce back. He applied for a new role at a boutique agency across town. Small firm, tight-knit. Word got back to us that he'd made it to the final interview. The hiring manager? Used to be our senior account executive. One of the people Gregory had pushed out a year ago. She called me personally. "Hey," she said. "He used your name as a reference. Thought you should know." I didn't rant. I didn't go into all the details. I just said one sentence: I wouldn't trust him to lead a lemonade stand, let alone a team. She laughed. Gregory didn't get the job. Last I heard, he was freelancing. Trying to rebuild. Burning through contacts. Quietly fading. As for me? I was promoted again, this time to director. Megan became a lead strategist. The juniors I supported grew fast and loyal. We built a team on honesty, credit, and grit. But here's the part one never said out loud. The night I heard Gregory mocking me, laughing about my drive, I went home and almost quit. I stared at my resume, opened the job boards, and almost hit apply on 5 different companies. I'm glad I didn't. Because revenge doesn't always have to be loud. Sometimes it's earned in silence. Inconsistency. In proving every person wrong who thought you'd never get out of neutral. Gregory thought I was stuck. Turns out, he was the one who never moved. And when he needed a favor, a lifeline, all he heard from me was, "Sorry. I'm too busy moving forward."